Hello, this is Mcd the Beast, and this is Mcd Sports4 coming to you today with my top 25 for week 5 of college football. Before I continue, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. Please subscribe to the channel. Greatly appreciate if you do that. We're really trying to grow the channel. We just hit 300, so thanks for that. We're trying to hit 400 now, obviously, but it can't start without hitting 301. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button. You will not regret it. Um, so top 25, I released the poll. This year we're doing it every Monday. That's probably going to be a thing now on this YouTube channel, and Mcd Sports4 will release every Monday. Because this year is kind of crazy with the whole COVID thing. As I said, I think this is just a 1 year thing. Every conference is now involved in my top 25 because of them coming back. All these conferences coming back. I did exclude the Pac-12, the MAC, and Mountain West, but they are back for consideration, and there is a few Pac-12 teams in this top 25. So let's get into it. Number one, Clemson. They are the best team in college football as of right now, in my opinion. Number two, Ohio State. Haven't played yet, so we'll see what happens there. Number three, Alabama. Didn't cover against Missouri. Kind of disappointed in that, but they looked pretty good when they were trying in that first half. Number four, Notre Dame. They move up kind of by default to from like number 7 to number 4 because of some of the teams that lost. Um, and I do think Notre Dame, I do think they are the second best team in the ACC. Number 5, Florida. Offense, very impressive. Defense, not so much. But they, in my opinion, they are the second best team in the SEC. They are number 5 in my poll. 6 through 10 here. Number 6, Penn State. Haven't played yet. We'll see what they do. Number 7, Auburn. Very impressive Auburn. A lot of people thought that Kentucky was going to win that game. 29-13 Auburn was your final score. Pretty impressive by Auburn right there. I thought their defense looked pretty good. To me, they are the third best team in the SEC from what I saw in week 1 of SEC play. Um, Oregon is number 8. They haven't played yet. We'll see what they do. I think they are by far the best team in the Pac-12. Number 9, Wisconsin. They haven't played yet. We'll see what they do. Number 10, Georgia. Very disappointed in their offense. Defensively, they're really good though. They woke up in the second half offensively. They have a big game against Auburn this upcoming week. That game's a huge game. We'll definitely be picking that game on Wednesday. But Georgia, number 10, in my opinion, has dropped them some. They should not be losing to Arkansas 7-5 at halftime. That's what it comes down to. 11 through 15. Number 11, Minnesota. We'll see what they do. They don't start to the 24th of October. Number 12, North Carolina. North Carolina, in my opinion, I think, now granted, I do think Miami might be better than them. I'll talk about them coming up. But North Carolina has not given me a reason to drop them. They have big games, obviously, against Miami. I believe they play Notre Dame as well, if I'm not mistaken. I think they play both Virginia teams, and Pitt. So it's gonna be interesting to see, but they have not given me a reason for me to absolutely drop them or have Miami ahead of them. So that's why I put them at 12. Number 13, Cincinnati. Very impressive win against Army. I didn't think you guys were going to cover that spread, but you guys actually end up covering that spread. Very impressive win. I think they are the best group of 5 team in the country right now. Number 14, Oklahoma State. I do think Oklahoma State's the best team in the Big 12 from what I've seen so far. Now, granted, I thought they've been very underwhelming this year. We'll see what happens when they play Texas and Oklahoma and other teams. I believe they play Iowa State, if I'm not mistaken, this week. So Iowa State's one of the better teams in the Big 12. But I got them as the best team in the Big 12 from what I have seen. They have the most convincing win, in my opinion, in the Big 12 against West Virginia in Big 12 play. Number 15, Texas. Their special teams and defense sucks, but they are still a top 15 team. They get Oklahoma in 2 weeks. That's gonna be a big time game for them. But number 15, Texas. I think they're really not that good of a football team. I really don't think the Big 12 is that good. I don't think they have a definite good team. Number 16, Texas A&M. I had to drop them some because of that performance against Vandy. This offense is mediocre. Defensively, they're good, but A&M, they have a big game against Alabama next week. That's gonna be a big test for them. We'll see what happens in that. I would say they probably lose that game by 2 to 3 touchdowns at this point. Number 17, Miami. I like Miami. I've been pretty impressed with Miami, but Louisville, they lost. They're 1-2. Um, and their only wins against a Western Kentucky team that got embarrassed by Liberty. And then Florida State, as I said, is the worst team in the ACC. I was harping on that Saturday night and Sunday night a little bit of how bad they were. Florida State. So I can only really put them no higher than like that 16, 17, 18 range. I put them at 17. I do think they are the third best team in the ACC, but resume wise, it's just not there. And I gotta see what they do against North Carolina and some better teams in the ACC for me to sit there and say, in the pool at least, I think they're the third best team in the ACC. But for me to say they are the third best team in the ACC according to the Mcd Sports4 poll. Number 18, Tennessee. Pretty good win against South Carolina. Granted, the game was exactly what I thought it was going to be, a dogfight game. Came down to a special teams play. But Tennessee, good job going on the road and beating South Carolina. That, to me, is a pretty good win there for Tennessee. Number 19, Oklahoma. I had to drop them by a lot. Um, they are not that good of a team defensively. They are god awful. As I talked about throughout Saturday on the live stream, I said there was no way they should be giving up 38 to Kansas State and then 48 last year to Kansas State. In my opinion, Oklahoma, I dropped them to 19. I still think they're like at least a top. They're probably really a top 15 team, honestly. But and you could call this a bit of an overreaction. I know the AP poll had them at number 3 without the Big Ten and Pac-12 teams and everything, and they dropped them to 18. I dropped them from number 4, no, number 5 to number 19. So basically, I kind of dropped them a bit less technically if you count spots, but overall, very disappointing with Oklahoma. Number 20, Mississippi State. Uh, I think they might be the fourth best team in the SEC. Granted, I have them as the sixth best team, actually the seventh best team in this poll. Primarily because I still think A&M and Tennessee are good teams, but that could change throughout the weeks. We'll see what happens. But I was very impressed with Mississippi State going down there, getting a big time win. And the Mike Leach era, started the Mike Leach era, kick off with a big time win in Death Valley against LSU in convincing fashion. Very impressive with that. Number 21, speaking of number 21, LSU. Um, listen, they are, I think they're just a top 25 team, honestly. Um, Now, granted, they did lose a lot. I don't think it's really that much of a big deal that that they're not going to really have that big time season like they had last year. But overall, I dropped them from number 4 to number 21. So that should tell you what I think about LSU. I wasn't going to drop them out the poll or anything, but if they continue losing, I will. Number 22, BYU. BYU, very impressive win against Troy. Granted, it's a Sun Belt team, but the Sun Belt's been looking good this year, so you got to give BYU some credit. Very convincing fashion. I think they are the 22nd best team in college football right now. Number 23, UCF. UCF dominant win over East Carolina. I do think they are the second best team in the American as of right now. Maybe Memphis is. I think them and Memphis are fighting for number 2 and number 3, whichever position you want them to be in. But Cincinnati's number 1. Number 24, USC. We'll see what they do when Pac-12 play starts on November 6th, I believe, or November 7th. We'll see what they do. USC, I do think they are a top 25 team. I put them at number 24. And then number 25, Memphis. As I said about UCF, you could basically flip flop those two. Maybe even put USC on number 23 if you want. But I think UCF and Memphis are fighting for that number 2 spot in the American, trying to represent the American in the championship game as the number 2 spot. So that's the top 25 teams that I dropped. Number 21, Army. They lost to Cincinnati. Grant, I think Cincinnati's a good team, but I had to add some teams, especially with the Pac-12 coming back. So I ended up dropping Army at 21. I dropped Louisiana up at 22. Yes, they won. I personally did not want to drop them, but once again, I had to put Oregon and USC out of the Pac-12 in this top 25. I mean, if those two teams were not in my top 25, this top 25 will be inaccurate, and I had to drop a team and end up being Louisiana. It was a last-second field goal win against a pretty good Georgia State team for the Sun Belt, at least in the Sun Belt, but decided to drop them. But they are number 26, my pool, Louisiana. Number 27 is Pitt. Number 28 is Marshall. Um, and also in no particular order. Liberty, Arizona State, Iowa, Boise State, the Virginia teams, Virginia Tech, and Virginia and Cal are teams that should be considered in any top 25 teams that I consider for my top 25. Very impressive with the Virginia teams. Game pretty convincing wins against the NC State team that was coming off a win. I don't think Duke's that good, but I was not expecting that game to be an absolute blow and like a convincing win for Virginia against Duke. So that's my top 25. Comment down below. Tell me your top 25. I always like hearing from you all. Thanks for watching. Mcd the Beast signing off. Go Terps.